The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Speaker.
Megan Woods.
Mr Speaker, it's not with pleasure that I rise to give this speech. Labor will be opposing this legislation. It's not a position that we wanted to be in. We did oppose the bill at the first reading, and my predecessor in the spokesperson role on the environment, Moana Meki, made it very clear that we wanted to work very hard at the select committee stage to bring about the changes that meant we could support it. I think there's very few people in the world that wouldn't support the stated purpose of the bill, but it's when you get into the detail, Mr Speaker, that the problems emerge. As Dr Smith set out in his contribution, that this is something that has been on the books of the National Government for a very long time. In fact, it was promised in their 2008 election manifesto that they were going to introduce an Environment Reporting Act that required independent 5-yearly State of the Environment reports. Well, I guess us being here tonight means that perhaps this government has beat itself to a surplus in terms of the Environment Reporting Bill, because that was also promised in the 2008 manifesto. But, Mr Speaker, what this bill doesn't deliver is independent reporting. For Dr Smith to say that he challenges parties to justify why it is that it needs to be different, well, I'd like to hear from a government contributor on this bill how it is that they disagree with the vast majority of submitters, many of them very, very deep in the detail of this bill, who had grave concerns about the independence of the mechanisms that had been set up under this legislation. We heard from the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment herself, who had grave concerns around whether or not this bill would deliver independent decision-making around which topics are to be covered. And I am, of course, Mr Speaker, referring to Clause 18 of this bill, which is the central cause of Labour's inability to support this bill. Because, Mr Speaker, you simply cannot have the Minister for the Environment and the Minister for Statistics making the decisions on what is to be reported on and claim that you have independent reporting. What we have asked for consistently, and we will be asking for again, Mr Speaker, is that that decision be in the hands of the Secretary for the Environment and the Government statistician, who does consult with other people such as iwi, such as the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, and arrive at what it is. Because, Mr Speaker, the Minister who has spoken is quite correct. We are the only country in the OECD not to have this. We really wanted to be able to support this legislation and to put in place a robust and independent environmental reporting.
I regret that I have to interrupt the member. This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day. The House stands adjourned until 2 p.m. tomorrow.